Well, good morning. Welcome to Thoughts Can Change Your Life with me, Reverend Lee. Today I want to talk about our beliefs. I want to talk about how our mind distorts our view of life based on our beliefs. In other words, our beliefs are our filters. They're how we see life. And so honoring that, if we didn't have any beliefs, what would we be? We would just be the observer. It would be like a referee watching a soccer game. He's not a soccer player, so he's not involved. He's not the coach, so he's not involved. He's not the fan, so he's not involved in rooting. He's just observing what is happening. Everyone else in this game has beliefs, has filters as to how they see they want the game to go, right? So here's the idea that came to me this morning. Our beliefs create our subjective bias. Our beliefs create our subjective bias. In other words, no matter what anyone says, when we have a belief, we are biased into the way that belief holds up on that issue. And so here's a key about that. Give up trying to convince anyone of anything. It's not going to work. You're not going to work convincing anyone of everything. So what do, you say, Lee? Well, here's the only thing you can do. You can be a living, breathing example of an observer, of someone who lives in unconditional love, of someone who sees the balance in every situation, of someone who does not have attachment to a result, but rather is fully immersed in the process of experiencing life. I know what ciao means, Laura, but what does tutti mean? Give me that. I'll learn a little Italian with the rest of you this morning. So I love that idea that our beliefs create a subjective bias. Process that, write that down. Your beliefs create your subjective bias. If you're married or have a partner, your partner's beliefs create their subjective bias. Your children's belief create their suggestive bias. Your parents' belief, your politicians' beliefs, your business leaders, your religious leaders create. And anytime someone from their subjective bias tries to get other people to see that, they're out of the natural flow of life. Because the natural flow of life is for you to witness and become more aware of the infinite nature that is around you. As you become more aware of the infinite nature, you see a bigger picture and you have a more expansive life, a more expansive experience of life. Now, this is not easy to do. It's simple to talk about, but to do is the work. So then you ask the question, if my beliefs create a subjective bias, do my subjective biases expand me or do they contract me? That's a really good one to focus on. Hey, Tony's out there from Huntington Beach. Heidi, I'm not sure where you are now. I know Laura's in Italy. Johanna's in Frisco. Zach, I think, is in Louisiana, if he hasn't gone anywhere else. And so just know that I'm looking at you. I'm honoring that you're with me. Because if you're with me listening, you're giving your time. And your time is your most precious gift. So you have a subjective bias to listen to me today. I love it. That's a good bias in my mind. But notice that was judgmental. See how we are? Sarasota, Florida, Heidi, that's where my best friend Naranjan lives. Sarasota is such a beautiful place. Yeah, think about it. If you didn't have subjective biases, what would you be seeing that you're not seeing today? So much more. So much more. Imagine this visualization. You're walking into this warehouse that's, let's say, 1,000,000 square feet. You can't see the end of any wall from one point. And in this warehouse, there's infinite number of things, infinite number of things. But you have a headlamp. And this headlamp has a very narrow focus life. It's not a wide focus life. It's a very narrow focus life. That narrow focus are your beliefs. Those are your subjective biases. So when you walk into the warehouse, wherever that light is pointing, that's the only thing you see. And yet, all around it, there is so much more that you can't even imagine. What happens is you become more aware, you open up how wide the light can see. As you put aside your biases, you can see more. The more you can see, the more you can imagine. The more you can imagine, the more you can create. The more you create, the more you can experience. And that's why we're here, to experience more. And the more we experience, the more we want to experience, because we understand that this universe is an infinite possibility for us. It's a playground, gang. It's a freaking playground. But we take it way too seriously because of our subjective biases. Instead of being a playground, it becomes our prison. And it's all in how we perceive everything in our mind. Our mind is the prison guard. It is the gatekeeper. It keeps us locked in. The question is, your awareness and the mind works for you, but you have forgotten that the mind works for you. You think you work for the mind. Ooh, not a good relationship to have if one's going to lead an expansive and fulfilling life. I think this was just a ball of a message today. I love how Spirit is coming into me, giving me ideas, and then allowing me to share them with you, to process them with you and through you, alongside of you. Because that's why you want to be in community. You want to be in community. You want to have a family, a tribe, a group of people who are open-minded, who accept you as you are and support you as you create your life, not their life. So know that I do this every morning at 8 a.m., except Sundays I do it at 7:30. Know that you could join me for meditation every morning at 7 a.m. Central Time by going to agapespiritualcenter.com and just getting the Zoom link. Know that we have gatherings every Wednesday. And if you are a part of this community, I don't do this often, but I will today, support us. Make a contribution. Become an automated giver. $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever you desire to give. And that'll help us bring this message further out into the world at this most critical time. You can do that by going to agapespiritualcenter.com and click the donate button. Anything you give is appreciated with all the love. But you get to decide who you support and why you support them, because it's your subjective bias that will allow that. So with that, you go create a great day. Know that I love and accept you just like you are. And if you do need support, remember what I teach. Ask. If you don't ask, no one will know. And what I'm afraid of is that lately people have forgotten how to ask. With that, much joy to all of you, much peace, much non-attachment. Until tomorrow, aloha.